All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Welcome to the NHK, episode 17. All right, so Misaki is doing what she can.
Yes.
But this boy is hopeless.
Well,
and he is.
But maybe not.
He is going to a previous classmate's house.
Yep.
I assume their house.
Yeah.
It might have to do with something regarding her brother,
potentially,
who is addicted to the same MMO that Sato is.
Yep.
And she was the class rep,
right?
Which is why y'all were like, no, don't get too confused, because the class rep shows up later.
Exactly.
Different character.
Yeah. This feels very Toradora in being like, oh, class president, yeah, that's this character. No, it's not. They do have some scenes where it's important that they're different. But Sato reached a new low. He reached a new low, and he was shown, thanks to Yamazaki, a future where this became his life. And he didn't want that. It was very chilling. It was scary. And so maybe this is a springboard from which Sato can, soar.
Yeah,
but
let's hope so.
Yeah.
But we'll just have to wait and see, y'all. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Oh, and she might be worried because of,
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So no more details about it, just...
Oh, wow. Sure. Hey. That is a step in the right direction.
Yeah. Okay. She colored her hair? Yeah.
委員長
私もこっちの大学に進学したの。
Gotcha, and to save on rent money.
今やってんのは
End up moved in with him,
ボ
yeah.
ランティアみたいなもんかな。
ボランティア
Oh.
Gotcha.
She was always trying to, get people into things.
Right.
それ、
Yeah.
前にも言ったよね。同じこと。
Oh, dang. It's pretty harsh, but like, I mean...
留年しちゃったの？それとも就職浪人？
Yeah, just say you're looking for work.
まだいいんだけど
Is he gonna be honest? Oh,
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
それほど心配することないでしょう。どうせ他に行くところもないんです。
Yeah, we know Misaki, yeah.
もし崖から足を滑らせたら引きこもり？
He was honest.
Yeah.
Way to go,
や
buddy.
ってない仕事もしてないつまりはニートさ
だったら私の先輩に会ってみない？
A
先
mentor.
輩
私だっ
All of
て
them.
先輩と会うことで変われたの。
Wait, is this
Oh,
gonna be the
no.
cult?
周りの言葉に惑わされず、自分の言葉を持つことができるように。
Oh no. Oh no.
人間一人一人には
No! Crap!
Well, no, this is all good stuff.
Yes.
But
Yeah, there's too much
Yeah.
positivity from it.
佐藤くんも一緒に行きましょう。
これから
and coincidence.
I hope it's good.
先輩ってどんな人なんだ
1年足らずでスーパーカーを手に入れたという伝説
Wow.
の人物よ。
スーパーカ
No.
ー一体どんな仕事をしてるんだ
詳しいことはついてから
Oh
説明するけど、
no.
とっても社会に貢献している仕事よ。
It feels like scammy, pyramid scheming. It feels like
Yeah.
culty.
引きこもりも大したことないんじゃない？
そんなことないさ
Well,
半年くらい前までは夜中に買い出しに
Well,
行くのが
this is good. He's gonna say like
じゃあ
recently
今は症状
had
が
it
改
gotten
善してる
better.
right, this is an opportunity, Sato.
There's literally a relationship couple and stuff in the background.
yeah,
That'd
yeah.
be like there was
Yeah.
someone else that helped you.
あは
いろいろあってあい つのおかげなんかじゃない。
Wow. All right, Sato. Oh boy. I hope it's a good thing, but you know, it's
ついてきちまったけど、一体どこまで行くんだ。
now he's already like starting to realize. Wait a
Right.
minute.
I've gone on weird trips before.
佐川さんの家はここから歩いて30
30
分だか
minute
ら
walk.
30分
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
何かが違う。
世界中のセレブが愛用する優れた商品を生み出している会社よ。
Oh.
私たちはマースロードの名誉ある会員なの。
Oh. Yep.
これはもしかして。
私
They literally have people in a
Yeah, yeah.
pyramid shape in the background there.
Yeah.
クロージングに行ってるから
Whoa, this is gonna be good. Oh my gosh. Well, oh boy. I have some stories I'll be sharing in discussion after this one. Oh my god. Oh, I have seen certain variations of this. Oh my gosh.
アレルギーの方からお子様やお年寄りまで安心できる商品を提供するのが我々の仕事です。
Oh my
で
god.
は我々が販売している商品が市販の製品よりいかに優れているか今から実演してみましょう。
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right. It's always 100% natural. Yep.
Yep.
こちらに
Oh
用
my
意したの
god.
が他社の合成洗剤です。
Wow.
Yep.
この2つ
Classic.
水の入った
And then they
別々の
over
容器に入れてみましょう
concentrate one of them to the point of ridiculousness because there's already a bunch in one of them. I love that Sato is smart enough to not even be remotely swayed
Yeah.
by this. Like,
まさか。
oh man, it's even the friend from high school that contacts you after not
Yeah.
speaking with you for such a long
とこ
time.
ろで
Well,
It's Yamazaki.
oh no.
Wow.
人として生を受けたからにはスーパーカーに乗ってみたくはないですか。
Oh man.
Yeah. See, the thing is that it's actually more disgusting than this. Cause this type of thing is actually like way more well put together usually.
Right.
It's less obvious than this. Oh my
佐藤君
god. They're the type of people that would do
分け
that,
ていら
so
ないの？
要するに、ここで買った商品を他のやつにバンバン売って
Wow.
稼げってことだろ。そして仲間を増やせば昇進していく。そういうシステムだろ。
yeah. Yeah.
これってさ、いわゆるマルチ商法ってやつだろ。引きこもってるからテレビや
Oh! Ha! Wait, why do you have to leap out the window?
Yeah. I guess because there were people at the front door.
Right. I thought he was going up there to like
Yeah,
ruin
yeah.
the whole meeting and
Uh-huh.
い
everything.
つも俺をバカにしやがって。
Oh yeah, it's okay, buddy. It's okay.
あそこにいた連中みたいなカモじゃないんだ。
Oh,
違うの。そうじゃないの。
違わないだろ。
she's gonna bring up her
いつも
brother
あ
now.
の佐川
Yeah.
ってじいさんみたいにいい車でも手に入れて。
私だって先輩の口車に乗せられて
Oh,
山ほどの商品を買わされているの。
それは自分が悪いんじゃないか。
yeah.
俺を巻き込むな。
ええ悪いのは全部私よ。でもね、
Oh.
委員長。
私が東京に出てきてからすぐ
Oh.
父が倒れたわ。
Oh.
学費も生活費も自分で稼ぐしかなかった。そして宝石を売る仕事だったわ。不愛性だったから頑張って働いて。でもバイト料なんてまともにもらえたことはなかった。
What do you mean paid properly?
結局経営者はお金を
Oh
持ってとんず
jeez.
ら。このまま一生社会の底辺引きこもりのまま生きていくの。
Yeah.
頭のいい佐藤君ならとっくに気づいてるよね。自分を見る周囲の人間の蔑んだ視線に無職の引きこもりの存在は社会がそれを求めているの。
It is all a conspiracy.
人間は安心して見下すことのできる存在を
Wow. Literally bring that up in the way that.
搾取する側に回ればいい。周りの人間を見下してやるのよ。
Wow, that's just dark.
どうせ腐った人間関係ならば私の借金もなくなるし佐藤君の夢だって叶えられるわ。
俺の夢。
そう、叶わない夢なんてない。
crap.
Remember the
サクセスストーリー
MMO.
が佐藤君を待っている。利用できるものは何でも利用しなきゃ。
Wow. Oh, she cleaned his place, made
Yep.
him food.
佐藤
Has been waiting here all this time. No. Oh my god, it literally has a radioactive symbol.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
it.
それはこっちのセリフです。そんなお金どこか
Did
ら
you go into debt?
知り合いにローンを紹介して。
No!
Oh, boy.
Crap.
何
Oh,
心配ないって
man.
典型的な悪質マルチ商法じゃ。
この俺がそんなもんに引っかかるわけが引っかかるわけが
Oh. Okay, good. He snapped
Yeah.
out of it immediately. I love this music, though.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
All right, time to talk MLMs and all that jazz, all that wonderful
All right.
stuff there. It's funny because like, you know, this show came out what 2000 and something.
2007.
2007. Okay, so in some ways, this show having this little bit of the story in here.
Mm-hmm.
Makes perfect sense in terms of the timing and response. I don't know when, if anything, Japan got hit with the whole Amway craze and everything like that.
I don't know, because I mean,
worldwide.
MLMs have been around for forever.
Oh, but MLMs have been, well, no, they've been around for like 60 years or so.
Well, I mean, there's like, isn't Mary Kay like over 100 years old?
I don't know. But that is a good question. Yeah, there's a bunch of companies that have things that you'd think you'd be like, wait, that's how they got started. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Tupperware is a great example of that. Did you know that?
Well, yeah, that was the thing in Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, exactly. And in some ways, this is the thing that's rather interesting about it is, well, we'll save this for the discussion point here, but God, no. Like having that high school friend call up and be like, oh, it's going to be about the MMO and the brother and the mentorship. It's like,
Yeah.
Well, we've entered the fantastic, wonderful world of success stories of multi-level marketing.
Right.
Network marketing, pyramid schemes. There's a lot of names for them, but they're a quite prolific breed, especially nowadays due to social media.
Sure.
Like, especially so.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is that, like, in some ways, I am kind of excited to discuss this because I have a lot of direct experience with these types of companies. But the thing is that, like, I'm not going to be the most, like, negative person surrounding the whole topic as much either.
Yeah.
Because, so
there's reasons that they
exist.
and there's reasons that people get sucked into them because there's a lot of good stuff in there. But you need to...
But you should almost, like, never do it, in my opinion. Almost never do it if you're not going to just buy the products and enjoy them.
Right. Because
do not sell multi-level marketing, in my opinion.
Or at least do not get it with the purpose of selling. Get it with the purpose of trying the stuff. Because sometimes there will be some pretty great things out there, right? Because
but you can usually tell when it's a really scammy one.
Yeah.
The usual way you can tell it is if it's something you're not actually going to use.
Right.
Meaning if it's something that's like insurance, some kind of non-physical thing that you don't actually consume, and it's not like a thing where you're
like
buying
hyper specific or
right. So like detergent is almost a laughably pointed one at a very specific multi-level network market, whatever company, and buying just copious amounts of that, it's like, oh, cool, and then the other one that's really bad in my opinion personally, is anyone that asks you to buy tons of the product so you can sell it to your friends.
Right. That's no. The
you should just buy to just do it for you.
Do it for you.
Nothing else.
Right. And the buying a ton of stuff and then selling it, I feel like is a pretty dated. Oh,
it is super
dated principle.
It's actually way
there
more
are companies
sneaky now.
Right. There are companies that still do it, but that's more like holding on to a relic of the past.
It's because they're old.
Because they're old.
Yeah.
But like the idea of like, hey, like just basic referrals, right? Like all kinds of companies will have that, right? You know, if someone ends up signing up with I don't know, whatever, right?
Well, an example right now is every YouTuber nowadays that's gotten big, NordVPN, use my code.
Sure. Yep.
And that's a thing where it doesn't have the levels, you know?
Right.
But it is the basic
But it's the
instance
basic
of a
concept.
referral,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
a referral.
exactly.
Yeah, the company is paying them to
Right.
say that this product and service is really good. Now, is the product and service really good? Yeah, I use NordVPN. # not sponsored.
Right.
But like that's literally a thing where it's like, oh yeah, I would absolutely use that.
Yep.
I don't have to share it with anyone in order to
Right.
enjoy using it.
Yeah.
But the thing that's really scummy about these types of companies is not actually, in some ways, the products. It's actually the things they tell you to do.
Right. Yes.
And that's where it just gets into some really disgusting,
it's-
nasty things.
Like, I feel like it's the same
Ugh.
kind of a thing of how people say don't go into business with family or friends or things like that,
Yes.
because you have to be very careful, right?
Uh-huh.
Like me and Caleb doing this is something where we have to be very careful with, how we do it and things like that, right? But when you're getting into a situation where, like, even if they're amazing products, right? Like even if they're fantastic, you use them, you love them, they've helped you a lot, right? It gets weird once you get into the point of recommending it to someone else and you benefit from it.
Yeah.
I'll recommend things to people all the time, like, and fairly forcefully
Silent
too.
voice.
A silent voice, right?
Domestic girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't get anything from you getting into those kinds of things in a
I do.
financial
I get
way.
Right, in a financial way. I
Right.
get the enjoyment of thinking, yeah, this wonderful thing, I think you'd love it too. That would be so cool if you got into it, because then we can commiserate about how awesome it is. And
Commiserate.
right, and it's great. It's great. The thing is that it gets weird when you add money into the equation. Even if you don't try to make it weird, it's and the other person, they don't know necessarily, even if you are coming at it from a good, honest place where you're
Right.
saying, no, this is amazing. Let's say it's one of those like health systems or whatever, and you're like, it helped me lose a bunch of weight and take my life back, right? That's a great story. That's the kind of thing that you would absolutely want to share with somebody, right? But when you're getting compensated for that, you need to make sure that you're in a good place, and they need to be able to make sure that you're in a good place. Otherwise, it damages relationships, and that is bad.
I will tell you now a couple stories I have surrounding this whole topic of things. I've been in 3 technically, but I was only in the second one for a small period of time. So I technically wasn't even really in. It was more like I was discussing it. The first one is the big one that most people in the West have experienced, and that's Amway Worldwide, whatever you have there. I was in school, and I was literally just the dumb 18-year-old. And they're like, yeah, come see my mentor at my place, and blah, 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 blah. I share you a really cool thing of way you can make money on the... whatever. Script,
Right.
The thing is the guy who shared this to me, I trust the guy. I love the guy. He's a great guy. Once I entered the room, I realized kind of what was going on.
Yeah.
And usually I would be kind of against that sort of thing. But I would basically do the thing of like, yeah, I get it. This is something that's important to you, so I'll support you. But no, the minute you ask me to, spend $150 on a thing I'm never going to use, no, I'm sorry, I'm out.
Right.
Thing is, though, is that they literally had people there who were buyers, people looking for it, that were already in the company.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they basically would do things that are really sneaky where they're like, okay, we're going to have 5 people in there that are all looking at this for the first time. Wink, wink. Then, have like 2 people who are, kind of the experts who are there. One is kind of the hype person. The other person kind of gives you the hard facts,
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's basically good cop, bad cop. And then you have the people who are your friends that are the host. The thing is, I think it was only me and one other guy who were actually like new.
Gotcha.
And yeah, my friend was totally okay with like not saying anything about how they were all people that already, used the thing there.
Yeah.
Because it builds energy. That's literally what they were there to do. And I found out about that later after I had been in it for like 2 weeks, and then I returned all my products. Thankfully, because of how scummy certain companies have been, all of these companies nowadays offer return policies.
Right.
So I got all my money back.
Right.
But I had a talk with him about like, hey, you realize, right, that like that's
not cool.
Well, no, that hurt the relationship in the long term.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't know now whether or not you really want what's best for me, or whether or not you'd rather be okay throwing me, to the wolves essentially, so that you can make like a $25 commission. I'm like, that feels really, really bad. And then the other thing was like, hey, if you need financial help getting through school, I am in the same situation as you, but I will totally help you. Let me know a way that I can help you. I can help you find work. I can just loan you some money, like, no interest, like anything. Just take it and just like pay me back in 10 years, whatever. Like, that's fine. But the second experience was just like, nope, automatic, like not interested in it, even though the products are actually really good. It was because of the people involved. The next one ended up being actually a really positive experience for me overall, because I didn't really share it ridiculously. The way that this one was set up is that they didn't actually really care too much about whether or not you told a whole lot about other people, because the products themselves were primarily about you just consuming them, and then if people noticed, then that's
just sort of point them back our way, kind of
point them back, towards the company rather than you selling anything. And that actually worked for me. And this is the thing I think that's a little insidious here, is that you can end up having all the things on the surface level, I would say, that a lot of these things will offer there. And yes, I used to be a salesman and stuff like that, so I know how to talk to people and stuff like that. But what ended up happening was that it was a health company. I ended up getting a decent amount of success in the physical transformation that happened over the course of about a year. And just through the word of mouth thing of this is how it happened, people ended up, getting interested in it. And then people would go and just buy it over the course of time. And in a really weirdly, yes, wholesome way, through a, yes, multi-level network marketing company, my family was helped. A lot of my extended family was helped. A lot of my friends were helped. It was a really weird thing where I was like, I'm not 100% in this culture, and I don't really like the idea of having this be my number one thing. And yet, on the other hand, I was very much in it to make sure that I was, giving it the full attention it deserved, and eventually quit it because it was just like, okay, I think this is a bit much here. And it's weird, because I would say there's always some kind of an area in these types of companies that they don't really like questions being asked, like after a certain point. And I think that's usually the telltale sign that you're supposed to run, is they'll tell you, like, ask any questions, any questions. And there's literally like entire forums online about, here are the questions they don't want you to ask.
Oh, really?
And you just ask those questions, and they'd actually legitimately rather you not join their company if you're going to ask those types of questions.
Right, which makes sense, because like it's them all trying to basically build the public brand of sorts, right? Which is why there's like they'll use a lot of the things of the trying to basically get people to start dreaming, right? Because that's an amazing thing. If you can get people to start dreaming, that's fantastic, right? Thing is that it might not
it might be smoke and mirrors.
It might be smoke and mirrors, and the solutions, as they like to say, that a particular company offers might not be something that you want to, get in bed with.
Right.
But the idea of looking for more, right?
Or to use a less kind of greed-based analysis.
Sure.
Personal development.
Yes, and that's where a lot of the, like, because I got into the one that Caleb was talking about, the health one, and that was one of the cool things that they did. Is like the best things that I got from that was the way they talked about, build yourself up, and that's how you don't need to really talk to people about trying to get them into some whatever, right? Because if you work on you, that is something that is inherently magnetic. Right?
just getting a good routine going, taking care of your mental taking care of your mental health, your self-talk.
Yep.
At least, like, you know, taking care of your physical body. These are all things that can lead towards a generally more positive lifestyle.
Yep.
You don't need super products or anything to do that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that unfortunately sometimes there needs to be some kind of super product incentive for these people to wholesomely, in a very weird way, be so forthcoming about all these good principles that a lot of people just don't get taught in general society.
Yeah.
Or you'll get maybe them in small doses there, but they won't be emphasized so much because people are rather greedy. People are rather selfish. So when they get a good thing, necessarily, they're not always like, okay, now I want to go share it with other people.
Well,
They're,
and
you know,
and why should people listen?
oh,
right?
that too.
Because I feel like they showcased it here in sort of the brainwashy kind of way, right? With them all standing there and just, oh wow, you know. But the idea that, like, if someone were to tell me something, right?
Yeah.
But I don't see anything going along with those words.
Right. So it's the supercar that was told about, but when you go to the house, it's just a rundown.
Right. It's just a rundown house. But it's the same idea that if you don't want to get health advice from someone that's out of shape, right?
Oh,
you know,
that one is
that's like let's get practical here, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to look at the supercar and all that stuff and be like, okay, scammy and all that, right? But you don't want to get financial advice from your broke uncle.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that, right? You want to get advice from someone who's already done it and then do what they did. Maybe adjust it to whatever works for you and everything like that,
yeah,
right?
and then temper that with basically looking around from different sources.
Right, exactly.
At the very least are willing to listen, because usually you'll see a lot of arguments that these types of companies use get twisted just the right way to where they're right, but they're omitting like a specific like 2%.
Right.
And that is usually that their advice they're giving in the principle sense of things is very good. The advice in terms of like the tactics and the how and all that stuff can lead into some like, okay.
It's biased.
It's biased. It's definitely tainted with a little bit of bias.
Yeah, like in the case of like health foods, I feel like that's one of the easiest ones for the MLMs because, yeah, health is someone that everyone needs, right?
Yeah.
And if you can take your health back, you know, especially like in America where that's overweight, obesity, and all that stuff is a major issue, then fantastic, that's amazing.
Yeah,
but it doesn't necessarily have to be through that particular company.
Doesn't. Yep.
Right now, of course, they'll say our company is the best because they spend a lot of money to convince people that it's the best,
the best, yeah.
and also to do research to try and say we have the best. We have our niche or whatever where we are the best option, right?
Right.
But this is not a one size fits all thing, right? You know, oftentimes just eating chicken, right? You know, in large quantities and working out,
and whole grain rice,
right, exactly, and keeping portion sizes, small and whatnot. Like
that's a magical health system. How did you do it?
And or finding someone that that makes that their lifestyle of making sure that they're in good shape and say, hey, what should I do? What have you learned over 20 years that you can spare me the pain of making all those mistakes, right? And there you go, right? But the idea of believing that there could be change, right? That's where I feel like things like this can be really good if you use them as sort of like a thing to jostle you out of the state that you're in, right? Because that's
about it most of the time,
that's usually it, right?
Yeah.
Because it can be so insidious to get into a place where you think that you're worthless or that there's no hope for you or that you can't whatever,
and then
right?
someone comes up to you and starts proclaiming all these good things over you, but their main goal is to have a notch so they can have their group of 6 underneath you or you.
Right.
And then once they've done that, they basically don't care about you.
Well, and the thing is that sometimes they do. Sometimes they do care about you.
Yes, they're so invested into it that they actually are really genuinely, positively feeling that for you.
And oftentimes those are the people that actually do well in these kinds of companies. And then the companies will hold them up on a pedestal and be like, look at how awesome these people are, right?
And in some ways, I have to wonder whether or not that's the really actually insidious thing about this, is that good people that aren't maybe the smartest people in the bunch, but they are, because I would say the smarter you are, the more skeptical and more open to learning you are. You kind of don't hold things too tightly. Like, I'm not that kind of intelligence kind of person. Like, I have trouble like letting go of things that I've held really tightly onto. So someone who has that elasticity and is able to, move within that and adapt and stuff like that is a good people person. Is someone that would probably do rather well in a good-ish, type of these companies. But then the problem is that it's the power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. The idea that once you move towards that area where you have all this success, are you actually able to maintain the sight of why you started something like this, which might have been for a good reason? And I would say maybe for a lot of people, no, not necessarily.
Yeah. And the thing is like, I feel like it's one of those things where in the best case scenario, right? Because while the people want to get the people under them, they also want the people under them to be able to do well. But the problem is that in a lot of these situations, even if it's a situation that's a good fit for one person, that doesn't necessarily mean that the people that they find, it'll be a good fit for them. Yeah. Right? So in those situations, what the companies, teach, and in order for it to truly be in a best case scenario possible, you would then make it so that the people that you bring into it are then able to do it in a good way as well, right? And actually do it successfully and things like that, right? And
then you run into the numbers problem where you realize only so many people can actually do that well, and then you realize, oh, wait, even if I might be doing my due diligence with specific
giving them all the tools to be able to hopefully whatever,
or at the very least you're just making sure that they're having a good product experience, right? Which is, I would say, the essence of any salesman.
Yep.
But you don't know what they're doing to the people that they're talking to.
Right.
And that's where there have been literally, like, huge lawsuits. Like, huge lawsuits. I would go and look them up, like, network marketing, like, lawsuits or something like that. There was one that was a health company, I think, about 5 or 6 years ago or something like that. It was maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. They got just hammered by the federal government. And they had to settle like so much money in court because of the disgusting lies they were spewing from their meetings or what have you.
Right.
And it never hurts to be more skeptical when money is involved. I would say, sorry, I'm using never. Let me backtrack here. Being skeptical and asking questions is, I would say, a hallmark of good, kind of building good belief systems and good communication. But when everyone around you is saying yes, 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 every once in a while, look around and go,
10th
no.
man. Yeah.
Like, let me ask some questions here, because that kind of thing, like the guy clapping in the corner there, you laugh at that, right? But the reason why they do that is actually just to get your mind, literally to have your subconscious mind put into a state where you're more readily willing and able to accept what's being told to you.
Right, because your mind and your body don't like to be in disagreement. So,
so one of them will move something in alignment.
Right, yep.
You laugh at that, but there are things that are way more subtle than that happen nowadays in advertisement and all kinds of other things like that, where you're like, and you look into this kind of stuff, and it goes beyond network marketing, MLMs and stuff like that. It's like, oh my god, the global conspiracy thing that, Sato has, pop into his head and stuff like that, where there's people that want others to be hikikomori. Yeah, that's probably actually kind of true.
Yeah. And as for the and the thing is that, like, one of the things that I often wonder about is, because there's so much out there just in the world that's a scam or something that you just shouldn't do that other people think you should do or whatever, right? How do you differentiate the good from the bad, right? And I feel like in a lot of cases, the best way to approach those sorts of things is to kind of try and play both, like being that, like, the adaptive person is the one that wins, right? Where you can, like, because one of the thing that my mind always goes to is YouTube, right? me and Caleb never thought that this would be something, or at least I didn't think this would be something that would become something serious when we started out doing it, right? We tried it for, because why not? It could be fun, right? And then, people seemed to like it, so we kept doing it. But if with too much skepticism, you don't take any risks, right? And then that's kind of probably where Sato is, right? Where he's so skeptical of everything that he doesn't move anywhere, right?
I would say he's not in that bad of a place, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And it's tough because it
is tough
because nothing can be gained without risking something, right? Even if it's little things like your
even
time,
just a little
or whatever.
bit of time, yeah.
Right, exactly. So and the things like the MLMs, I feel like where it gets really bad is not when people join, because they might actually learn some things about taking care of themselves, marketing, whatever, kind of stuff. But what gets really bad is when they get so locked into that decision that they don't leave when they should, right? Where it's something where because maybe they get something good out of it, right? And then it's like, okay, but now you got that, so you don't need to stay here, right?
Yeah, people in some ways need to be able to make their own decisions and kind of let the consequences hit them. But there are certain practices and there are certain things that happen out there. Like this is going on right now with the video games industry with microtransactions.
Sure.
There are things that are going on right now where people are realizing, oh, wait a minute. Yes, I have a choice. Absolutely. But environment is stronger than willpower.
Yeah.
But then the people counter back with, you have a choice as to what goes into your environment, right?
Right.
But there are a lot of people like Sato who are literally preyed upon by people like this.
Yeah.
And then when they reveal themselves, like the class rep did here, which I'm actually really glad that they did that, because here's the thing, it worked.
Yeah.
If it didn't work, I would have found it to be a little bit like, okay, cool, this is them kind of meta breaking the fourth wall about some aspect of society and how depraved and messed up it can be. The whole zero-sum game thing. I'm like, I totally get that. Yeah, absolutely. There's so many people that believe that way. In fact, I would say there's a majority of people over like the other alternatives, Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I would say there's a lot of people that believe that way. But because it worked, we're being kind of pointed at another thing here that is a little bit more insidious, which is that when people get into the mode that another person's life and livelihood and all that they are doesn't matter as much as yours, that condescension that she was talking about there, that leads to some really disgusting dehumanization and some really, really, really disturbing things if you go all the way down the line.
Sure.
Where something like, selling something to someone, that they don't really need, which by the way happens every day at some kind of, advertising thing or some kind of what have you. They're all trying to basically do a little bit of wholesome brainwashing and to make you think that you really need that McDonald's cheeseburger, that you really need that manly bar of soap, which yes, I was convinced and I bought some of that manly bar of soap. But my point,
apparently you really liked it.
Apparently I really liked it. Yes, and it was rather good. But that all being said, you look at that and you look at the methods and the means by which it needs to be done sometimes. Not needs to, but basically it ends up being done.
Yeah.
It can make you kind of a little bit disillusioned with a lot of things.
Sure.
And I would say that the main thing we've got going for us in this mess that is life is we've got each other. We've got other people. And while people are a lot of times the source of all of our pain and frustration,
and oftentimes that people is us.
Oftentimes that people is us, yes. They're also the best things about life. So while there can be a lot of stuff out there in your environment that's just disgusting and stuff like that, realize that there's Misakis and Yamazakis out there that are imperfect, dumb sometimes, and blundering around, don't have their life figured out, wonderful people that care about you. And even if it's just a thing of where they don't really get it most of the time, but every once in a while when they realize you're in a bad spot, they'll dress up into a maid costume and clean your apartment and feed you, some food. Like, they're trying.
Mm-hmm.
Like they need you in some ways just as much or more than you need them.
Yeah.
So there's that thing where we can lean on each other, and that's my piece on that, because I really like that once he got into the environment with them,
Mm-hmm.
they were like, bro,
Yeah.
and he just kind of goes, ah, like, just an
Yeah.
immediate, like darkly comedic just moment of I've been had, and that sucks.
And the other thing I will say is that not speaking from experience,
Mhm.
right? You know, because I got into the whole health foods thing and whatnot,
Yeah.
and I didn't do it very well.
Mhm.
I was trying to do it well, but I didn't do it very well because I didn't know what I was doing. Being patient with the people that are in those situations
Right.
is it goes a long way.
Yeah.
because there are definitely the people like the class rep that are actively trying to scam the people around them,
Right.
and there are other people that just
They don't know.
they just don't know, and they really and it's not doing that as a thing against them, but they really think that, hey, this would be awesome if it could help people, you know, and blah blah
Right.
blah blah.
Most people aren't that maniacal and diabolical.
Right.
Because one, they're not that usually intelligent. Like,
They're usually not that intelligent, and that takes a lot of energy to be
It
maniacal
does.
and diabolical
It's
in order to
not-
maintain that. You don't have a smile on your face when you're doing that. Like
no, like you'll see the chinks in that if someone, I mean,
Mhm.
unless they're a true like sociopath.
But
Like,
at that point, you're talking about like the
The
such extreme ends of the bell
very
curve.
specific people that you'll almost probably never encounter in your lifetime.
Right, and
because
if you
they-
do, you have different issues. Like,
Yeah.
like you have, like then oh boy, you're in for a fun time if you have one of those people in your life. But 99.9% of the time, it's not that. More than that, probably.
Right. I mean, math aside, like it's definitely a thing where a lot of times you'll just end up with people that mean well
Mhm.
and aren't really thinking,
Right.
you know, about
Yep.
these kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there might have been a little bit of salted brainwashing in there,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, be patient with them, but don't give them an inch in terms of like
Right.
anything like that you're not willing
Mhm.
to do.
And it's and it usually comes from a place of them trying to better their own life. So
So it means that they need help in some way or area there.
and yeah,
And usually what'll end up happening, I'll tell you, this is a really cool thing. When I watched people leave these kinds of cults, essentially, especially the ones that are based around like kind of, we form our little unit, don't talk to anyone else, you know. You'll see when the people come out, they'll be desperately looking for friends because they threw all of theirs away when they tried to basically pawn off their thing when not thinking about the consequences of that.
Yep.
So if you're someone that they tried to specifically like pawn
Right.
something off onto, and they come out of that and they just feel bad, just going up to them and being like, "Hey, I get it.
Yep.
It sucks, but you know I'm here. I forgive you.
That is
you know,
huge.
it's huge. It's
Absolutely
huge. It's so huge because
Yep.
because how many people do you think like get into these kinds of things and leave them in 3 months, but like in the meantime like literally like severed families because of like some
Right.
stupid
and
what
and
have you.
oftentimes it's not even necessarily something that they did. It's because since there are so many bad examples, since the bad examples can get so bad,
Yeah.
right?
I
As
feel
soon
like
as
8 out of 10 are pretty much just
Yeah.
don't even touch with a
Right.
39.5-foot pole.
yeah, that can cause something where as soon as it's brought up,
Yeah.
as soon as it's brought up and people hear the MLM thing, they then immediately label that person as you're trying to scam me when they might not be, right?
Yeah, they don't either.
Yeah.
They don't know, or they literally because judging the
Yeah.
intentions of a person
That's-
is way harder than judging the intentions
That's
of a
dangerous.
company.
Yeah.
Because a company, it's very easy.
It's
to
a
tell you what
money
their
making
intention-
machine.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to
And
do.
then you look
yeah.
at how they make money, and then you go, okay, this is a scam. If you're looking at a person can be deceived, a person can be deluded, a person can just be desperate and not really be thinking.
Right.
Most of us usually aren't thinking that much when we're doing things anyway.
Right.
So how much more so when they're in a negative situation like Sato is.
And that communication of, say, how it makes you feel of like, hey, it feels like you're using me,
Yeah.
that can go a long way too, because most
Right.
of the time they just don't realize that that's how it comes across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's our dissertation on
Yep.
network marketing and LLMs and
Yeah.
all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There is a lot of personal development stuff that can come from those, though, of like,
Yeah,
because
right.
the good ones will try and do that.
Yeah, but right now, what's actually really funny is we have a whole new thing going on in the online sphere, which is basically people being like, I'm an expert in this specific thing.
Oh, uh-huh.
But they're like, what are you an expert in? Life. Oh, so you're just a
yeah.
guru.
Yep.
Yeah. And then if you sign up to my monthly thing or what have
I
you,
bought the
it's
Ty
free.
Lopez program.
Oh yeah, the Ty Lopez's of the world are the next basically MLM thing, because the best part about those is you don't have to share it to anybody.
Well, and the thing is that even in things like those, they might have legitimately good advice, but the problem is advice without action is nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
And also when they start promising or trying to allude to certain things being done well because you ended up taking their advice.
Right. Uh-huh.
It's like, okay, buddy, like I really like these principles that you tout here.
Yep.
But I'm not going to take some crazy action on them that's going to lead to me making millions of dollars.
Yeah, and if you're the kind of person that is going to take the crazy action and whatnot, then maybe those programs are actually for you, right? And maybe they can actually give you some tools that you'll actually use.
Yeah.
But for most of the people, they're getting the tools that are going to sit in the garage, like those, like, you know, when your dad gets those power tools that he is never ever in his life actually going to use, you know,
or the like the other one there is like the people that end up getting the things that are super helpful for them, but because they're actually not thinking about changing their life in any way with regards to it, they just want to
have the
money
easy
or what have you,
solution,
or have an easy solution. Those are the kinds of people that show up to the gym in January and then never show up
Right.
again, but also are so dumb they forget to cancel their gym membership.
Right, exactly. And the gym membership can be a very good thing. You can get access to lots of good stuff. But if you're not actually utilizing it, then it's a waste.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Exactly. So yeah.
Fun episode.
All in all, share your advice, share your wisdom, share your experiences, share your stories. I would genuinely love to hear some MLM stories in the comments of this video, because there are going to be tons.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is that I want people to, like, you know, I mean, actually very few people probably have gotten to this far to the point in the video here. But take what we said with a grain of salt. Like, obviously, our experiences are not going to translate over to anyone else's experiences with a one-to-one anything.
Right. There's a reason that the psychiatrists almost never, if they're good, tell you to do anything.
Yes.
Because they know that you know you best, right? And you'll figure out what it is that you need to do that will work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear the whole range of kind of stories and stuff there, and we'll make sure to have the mods, you know, pass them on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this was interesting.
I did not expect it to go here.
Yeah. But now Sato's in debt.
Yep.
And he's got his monthly rent coming up here.
Oh, yeah.
So this is really bad.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully they can convince...
This could be... All right, so one of the things that I was wondering about is if there would be a reason why he would have to move in with somebody, like Yamazaki or Misaki, right? And this could potentially be a situation where he has no money, he doesn't want to go back home, right? Because he hates his dad, you know. So then it's then he actually has to be vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
And it's, hey, I'm not in a good place. Could you help me out here?
Yeah.
Right? And then it's like, then it can be the whole thing of, sure, but you need to make sure that you get a job, you know, and things like that. So it's not just enabling.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah. So y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion that went a bit too long regarding MLMs and stuff like that. But hey, if you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and stories like Jacob's sci-fi novel that he wrote.
Yeah, that's right. I wrote a sci-fi novel. It's on Amazon in both hardback and ebook. The sci-fi novel is called Battle Lines. In my opinion, it's pretty awesome. Of course, I'm biased, but, you know, whatever. Link in the description. Go check it out.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.